state the domain and range. So start with the original function, which is a root function. So x is greater than or equal to negative 4. And once again, x is an element of all real numbers. The range is always restricted. So the range would be y is greater than or equal to negative 6. And once again, y is an element of all real numbers. Now, when you find the inverse, you have to rewrite the equation. However, you would replace the g of x with y. So that you would rewrite the equation y equals negative x plus 6 squared plus 8. Now, in order to find the inverse, you would have to switch the y and x coordinates, but you would leave the reflection. So it would become x equals negative y plus 6 squared plus 8. Now, you want to isolate the exponent part, so you would move the 8 over. And when you move the 8 over, make sure to negative 8. So you would get this answer. Once again, you would want to remove the exponent by square rooting both sides, like so. And make sure when you add the root function, you include, or the root sign, you include the x and y in front of it, or the plus and minus in front of it, sorry. Like this. Now, you want to isolate negative y, so you would move the 6 over. And in order to have the y be a positive again, you would divide it by 1, like this, and you would get this answer, which is the final answer. Now, as you can see, I left the y value as just y and not added a g of x. This is because this function is not this equation, is not a function because of the plus and y sign. Nahilli, and today I'm going to teach you how to find the inverse. Find the inverse of f of x square root sine x plus 4 minus 6. Then graph it and state the domain and range. So you would rewrite the equation again, and the next time you write it, make sure you replace the f of x by y and rewrite the equation. Now, in order to find the inverse, you have to switch the x and y value. Now, you want to get this part on its own, so you would move the negative x over. And make sure when you move it over, it becomes a positive sign. So x plus 6 equals square root plus 4. Square it. You would square both sides. So x plus 6 squared equals and it cancels out. Then you're left with x plus 6 squared equals y plus 4. Now you also want to get the y on its own, so you would move the 4 over. Also, again, when you move it over, on the other side, it becomes a negative 4. You are done the equation, however, you want to move it back into its original and write it as an inverse 4. Now when you graph it, it should look like this. Red root function of the original, and the inverse is a quadratic function.